Hey everybody, Mr. Thomas staying at the KOA in Filmore, getting ready for our dig at Wheeleri Formation, which is about an hour and a half from where we're staying. We got a pool and a shower, so that's nice. And a nice campsite. So what we should be investigating on this trip, which has been a blast so far, digging up fossils with Drew Chiacchieri, a paleontology buddy. We are trying to investigate what type of environment really existed 500 million years ago in Utah. What type of environment was it? And how are we going to be able to figure that out? So, with the evidence that we find, all the things that we'll be looking at, and the stuff and the fossils and the rocks that you'll be seeing in the classroom help you figure out the type of environment 500 million years ago when life first, complex life started to emerge. Hey y'all. Thomas here from Alameda High School. I am a science teacher there. I'm here at a place called U-Dig Fossils, which is near Delta, Utah. So you've been learning about geologic time and the beginning of the Earth, right? How the Earth was formed, its history. We got our oceans, the early history. That stuff's pretty cool. But to me, geologic time doesn't really get that cool until you get life. But, you know, it's gotta be cool life too, right? Can't just be this microscopic organisms. When they started to get big, started to build shells with the chemicals that were in the ocean, when there's enough oxygen for these creatures to use, they started to get bigger. And that's why we're here today, to look for these creatures that were one of the earliest forms of life, complex life, that formed shells. Fossils. I have a little question for you though, class, or anybody watching this. If this is the Wheeleri Formation, first of all, what type of rock is the Wheeleri Formation? And I have to look that one up. Second question, what type of environment deposits that type of rock? And question number 3, what type of organism will I be looking for in the Wheeleri Formation here at U-Dig Fossils in Utah? My fourth question is, how old is this Wheeleri Formation? And that should also give you a clue to the third thing, which was what type of organism will I be looking for here? What type of fossils will be in this formation? So how old is it? So yeah, those 3 questions.
Answer those 4 questions.
And today, I'm going to be digging through all this to find me some of those said fossils. See if I can find some awesome specimens and even bring some back to school so you can smash open some rocks and see what's inside. So now you know the answers, right? You got the Wheeleri Formation is a type of a shale, and the shale has some pretty interesting properties to it, just like we've been learning, or that you should know. It's very fine-grained and very platy. It's actually a sedimentary rock, as we know. So the question number 2 was what type of environment deposits that rock. And your answer should be marine environment. So this was ocean. Hopefully you remember or learned that shale is deposited in a deep ocean environment. It's essentially like mud. And third, that gives away the last question answer, which was what type of fossils am I looking for here? And the answer to that is trilobites. Now, trilobites, so this particular age of this rock is 500 million years old, which is way older than any of the rocks you see in Denver. These would be way below all those rocks at Dinosaur Ridge. Way below. Now, since you've got the type of rock, the type of environment, and the age, the type of thing that you're looking for here, this organism, this fossil, is called a trilobite. Trilobites are benthic organisms. They live at the bottom of an ocean. Deep ocean, not the reef, not the shallow, not the beach, the deep, benthic. So they're like, I call them little roly-polies at the bottom of the ocean. You all know what roly-polies are. They look kind of similar. They're a close relative, or a relative of the horseshoe crab. So kind of like what a horseshoe crab looks like, but these are much smaller than that. So trilobites are the organism. There's lots of other fossils here, but most of what we're gonna find are trilobites. And if you said brachiopods, that's a good answer too, because brachiopods are found in here too, but they're really, really tiny.
Here's a fossil identification chart of all of the fossils that are commonly found here. However, some are much more common than others. These are fossils found by the employees here that represent that identification chart. I want you to use this identification sheet to match any of these fossils found by the employees here.
All right, so this shale quarry, what they do is they bring a big, huge excavator over here, and then big crane, and then just carve into this rock wall. But check out this, and so they make all the rocks, you know, accessible to everybody. But check out the wall itself. Notice all these tiny little layers. This is how shale looks, you know, if it's just a cross section of it, right? So we're taking little blocks of this and we're trying to hit them right here, so then they're breaking along these seams, and that's where the trilobites are, you know, located. So they're when they die, they crawl on the bottom of the ocean, and then they molt. They leave their skeletons behind, which is just their exoskeleton, which is like a shell, like a horseshoe crab shell, right? But tiny. Or they die, and then they just get buried by all this other shale, which is essentially mud, right? So deep sea mud. But that's a pretty impressive wall, right? You know, like there's been a lot of fossil hunting.
Yeah, for sure. Number one, you find a rock, and then you get oriented with the rock. So you find, usually it has this dark grayish layer on the top or the bottom of the rock, so you can kind of tell what is the top and the bottom. And so you find the side of the rock, and you can kind of see the layers going across. And then you flip the rock on its side, and so I can tell these are the layers. And you grab it with your hand, you kind of get it on something sturdy, because if it's not on something sturdy, you can't dig into it. And then you hit it with a hammer, breaks in half, and you try to find something. So right there's a little piece, but it's really small. So,
all right.
And then after that, you just keep going through the rock. You hit it again, break it open. All right, there's another little piece, but there's nothing. So you split through it. So then you just go find different rocks. So we didn't find much in that, so we just move on to the next one and start splitting it.
Right on.
So over the next couple of hours, Drew and I proceeded to break some rocks open with some luck and a bunch of luck. Here's some time-lapse footage of that.
Alright everybody, from that time-lapse video you saw I found on, here's what I gotta do is get this guy out somehow, right? So we gotta maybe hit the corners of the block, maybe in half again. Hopefully I don't crush it in the meantime or split it in half, which I've already done a bunch of times. And then we can try to figure out what it is, but definitely get an idea before I break it what it looks like. And we can use our sheets to figure out which one that might be. Is it a common one, a rare one? And they're pretty awesome, right? Trilobite hunting. There's Drew.
Got a little guy.
Little guy.
Right there.
Yeah, so wah wah is right. I broke it right down the middle, but I guess we can try to glue it. And I don't know if you can see that, but what are you gonna do, right? Look for more. 2 more hours to go.
That's the thing with paleontology. You just glue it back together.
All right. And we've been digging from this quarry for 4 hours. We're at the end of our excursion. See Drew up there? Wave, Drew. I can't see you. There you are. And he's up there. I'm kind of down by the face. We're all trying to find some good spots. We found a bunch, but I've got one last reveal for you here. So I just got this rock busted up right here, and I've been hammering at it, and then it breaks along these question. Why do these rocks really break along these lines like this? What is the properties of this shale that actually would produce this fracture in like sideways of the rock all the time? Sometimes you get these other angled ones right here, but otherwise most of the time it's breaking along a line that looks like pretty parallel to the surface of the rock, because it's like this blocky. So let's see what it produced. Anything at all? Oh, it's such a clean break. I see one little guy right there. Yeah, there's one. Sorry, I'll keep breaking a couple more, but that's what trilobite hunting is like. So we are looking for 500 million year old organisms in this mud rock, this shale at the bottom of an ocean here in Utah. 500 million years ago. That is well, what period is that? Should be the Cambrian period, where we're starting to see something called the Cambrian explosion, the development of complex life, and complex life starts to evolve into things like the trilobite. And you know, you would probably wonder what type of, if there's a bunch of trilobites here living at the bottom of the ocean, there must be something else here that feeds on those trilobites. Well, we weren't able to find any of those, but see if you can figure out what feeds on trilobites 500 million years ago. It can also be found in the Wheeleri Formation. So if the trilobites didn't make it to the bottom of the ocean and die there into their 500 million year old graveyard for us to find here, they would have been eaten by an Anomalocaris. And I wish we could find an Anomalocaris, but I'll show you a picture here in just a second. But an Anomalocaris were these, could grow up to a meter long, probably the size of my selfie stick here, and they'd be feeding on all these hundreds and thousands of trilobites at the ocean bottom. But these creatures have been waiting for us 500 million years to be dug out of their cold grave in shale. It's about 95 degrees out here today. Yeah, we've been working for 4 hours and found a bunch of stuff. And I'm gonna be bringing some stuff home for you guys to be able to excavate as well. And then you can try to figure out what type of trilobite you found, or even what part of the trilobite that you found. Because many times when you are looking in these shale rocks for the trilobites, you'll find all sorts of different parts to them. Their skeleton breaks off, or exoskeleton breaks off into a bunch of chunks sometimes, or whatever. So I'm here with my fossil digging buddy Drew. He's a teacher in Douglas County Elementary School, and Kyle is cutting our fossils for us that we found, because it's really hard to break the rock accurately so we don't hurt the fossil. So there's Kyle cutting our rocks for us. And these are all the rocks that we found, or all the fossils we found. Kyle's gonna cut these 3 rocks for me. See, there's a weird looking thing right here. Look at this trilobite right here. That one's pretty awesome, but I kind of want it out. And then this one's right on the edge too, right here. So we're gonna cut this out. See all the fossils Drew found. You gotta clean them up still. Wow. Here's one of my favorite ones, but you can see how hard it is to excavate. So they break, I gotta glue it together. Same with that one. That one's pretty awesome. That's Drew's. And this one was my favorite one. So I got the negative to it. Past. And there's this one. So one of the coolest things is to find the trilobite with the cheeks still on it. As you can see, this one still has cheeks on it, because what happens is they molt just like crabs do. They shed their skin. So they shed their skin, they molt, so crabs will have their shells on the ocean bottom. And if you find one without the cheeks, it means that it's just the kind of this exoskeleton, like their shell. But if you find one with the cheeks, that means you found one that just died on the ocean floor, which is a little bit harder to find. No, that's pretty good. Are you sure? I mean, got a little bit of wrong. I'm not a perfectionist. As long as it doesn't have the bulk of the rock on it, that's probably pretty good. I don't know, I'm gonna be a perfectionist. Okay. You want it out of the rock, or? It's fine if it's in the rock. Oh yeah. So close. Let's get close up. So it's a good one, but I'm kind of scared to clean it because I don't want to break it. Yeah, it's pretty thin. Okay. It's this tight. They're pretty thin. All right, and there's another dirty one over there that I could use too. Oh, they clean up good. They're so polished and shiny. Look at the difference. It's insane. What's up, everybody? We are at our campsite for the conclusion of our adventure in Utah, which took us 500 million years into the past. So the main question that I proposed to you guys was, what kind of environment existed 500 million years ago? And I think we accomplished that. We figured it out, right? That these things that we found, here's two of our cool specimens of ours that we found. Got them polished up from Kyle at U-Dig Fossils, and we got our awesome shirts, and yeah, they look pretty awesome. Marine organisms, benthic deep ocean marine organisms in Utah. It's so crazy. And we'll be able to, when we're done with this virtual lab, you guys in the classroom someday will get a chance to break these open that actually U-Dig donated to us. We didn't even have to pay for them, which is awesome. So you can split those up, and your trilobite could be inside this rock, yeah. So your piece of 500 million years past marine organism is there. Yeah, so I had a great time. My first real fossil dig as an adult. Not just at Dinosaur Ridge observing stuff, but actually going out and digging it myself. And it was awesome to have a companion, somebody to help me out and get me here, and I've kind of done some of this stuff before, but I had a great time looking for stuff and working real hard. I've got blisters on my hands, my back hurts, but what's the saying, Drew, about paleontology? And
Paleontology is a fancy word for manual labor.
Yeah, manual.
But it's so cool because you're digging with the hope that you're going to see something that nobody's seen for millions of years, and in this case 500 million years. These trilobites waited for us to dig them up. So cool.
So you'll get a chance to do the same thing when you come to class, if that ever happens again. But thanks for joining us, and you will hopefully see more adventures from these two, digging more stuff up in the western United States some other time, checking out different environments. Like, what's another cool environment that we could go to? You've done a couple cool ones.
We could go check out sauropods in the Morrison Formation, which is from the Jurassic period, if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah, we do. We totally look at that. Dinosaur Ridge, when we go to Dinosaur Ridge, we check out the Morrison Formation.
Sauropods, and then if we go to the east side of Wyoming, we could see Cretaceous age things. So animals like dromaeosaurs, which are like raptor type dinosaurs, and T-Rex.
Oh my gosh, I would love to find stuff like that and share it with you guys too. But there's also, I also found in Wyoming, if we're ever there's these like fish fossils that we could find. Just like we were splitting open rocks today, you could split open rocks in Wyoming, looking for some ancient fish. There's also another spot in Wyoming. Wyoming's a hotbed. For like 50 million years ago, many horses and many primates. I know that's crazy that they were walking around there, but you can find them right on the surface. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, microfossil beds, a lot of tiny mammal, reptile, dinosaur.
It may not be as like fun because you're picking up teeny bones of them, and these trilobites are like awesomely pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd say they're like a nickel or bigger size. Yeah, the Green River Formation is where we'd find those fish and things like that, and they're very abundant. So you guys would probably get another rock sample like this in your classroom and break it open and hopefully see some good fish skeletons.
Yeah, how awesome is that? All right, evidence of the past. So thanks for joining us, and that's it.